So therefore, let's get into it. This is a picture of me there, silhouette of me working. This is me doing a virtual gig. And that's at actually Dubai World Trade Center Club, which is now closed for the time being, but I'm sure it'll open up for functions as soon as the rest of the world does. Dubai is open for business in most cases anyway, so it recovered faster than most places because the great job the government did was monitoring everything and saying, right, it's time to stay indoors. Stay indoors, stay indoors, stay indoors. You can go to the shops, you can go to the hospital, you can go to your car, and then go back in again. And then it came out to play. And they did a great job of just basically making sure that everyone was monitored and everyone was safe. And so it's been a great experiment so far. People still learning from school in person. My daughter's learning from home, but she'll be going back to Sharjah English School pretty soon, which is fantastic. And they're great people there as well. Okay, so with that, I want to share with you what I've learned from 50 shows, about 14, 15 things, which I think you'll find interesting as well. Stay in your lane, number one, and work your hedgehog and brand around that. I've already explained to you what my own personal hedgehog is. I speak, I train, and I train people to speak. That's the whole thing in together. Now, you might be a life coach, you might be you might make cakes, you might be a fitness expert, you could do a whole lot of different things, a plumber. The idea is that you stay within your lane. Doesn't mean that you don't grow your lane, but you stay within it so people know exactly who you are. If you don't do that and you post stuff, and this is the thing about vanity metrics versus actual scores of how well your show is doing. My competition with my numbers is me versus me, not me versus anybody else. I don't care if I'm not seen as an influencer. I'm doing a show that lasts 45 minutes to an hour every day. So do I get huge numbers? Well, on average, I get about 1,000, maybe 2,000 on a good day from people all around the world. But for an hour, they're sitting there. It's not like a 7-second or 10-second piece that everybody likes and everybody comments on because it just flashes by. You've really got to want to watch this show to get the real value out of it. So I believe that this is important, not just because of a show, not just because of me, forget all that. But here's something to think about. We look at the growth of the influencer, of the industry influencer, or the forecaster, as I like to call them. Because what's going to happen in the next 2 years or so is all the people that used to be making TV shows and movies and talk shows and all the rest of it, they'll run out of material. Talk shows won't, forget them, take them out of the game, that's a different thing. That's what we're doing now. That's what I'm encouraging you to learn. But the movies and the TV shows and the albums maybe, they rely on a group of people being in the same vicinity and acting. Think about a love scene, for instance, or think about people in a living room being filmed. You can't do that with strangers. You can do it with family, but you can't do it with strangers. So you've got a real challenge in that all the content that's been made right now, okay, it's been held back and it can get used and recycled, but in about 2 years' time, that will run out. True? And then what's going to happen is people will look for their entertainment either from hopefully a world that's trying to catch up by making new shows from whoever's able to get together from post-lockdown worlds, or they'll be looking for industry experts who are able to share entertaining and engaging content about who they are and what they do and what's in it for other people. Do you get that? That's where we come in, doing these shows. Now's the time to run at it, grow an audience and grow your craft. That's my point. All right, so that was number one, stay in your lane. Number two is this, take risks. Have good days, have better days, have terrible days. Make a fool of yourself. I have done lots of stuff with this. I've even hit myself a couple of times in the forehead with it. Should remember not to do that. But start again the next day. The next day, do something completely different. Start again. There's nothing wrong with learning your craft and relearning it every day. That's the beauty of doing it so frequently. Because then you can come back to something and it goes. People don't really care about it. You think they do? They don't care. They're just going, okay, fine, click, and we'll find something else more interesting or more focusing to pay attention to. Number three, when you create content like a live show, you create video, you create a podcast. So you can take the audio, you can get all the transcriptions and turn it into white paper or a PDF as a money magnet for your course or your training system. And you can create a load of YouTube posts by chopping it all up together and putting it out there. Now, the difference between social media and YouTube is social media is like having a library of videos planted in your back garden that just grow every day. So you don't get huge numbers unless you've got to 1,000 subscribers, which I've got to admit I haven't, which is why I want you to join me. And then they start putting you in a different level of being able to reach people. But the point is that your content can all come from the same thing. You effectively become a media house. You become a broadcaster, which is really exciting. It's very different from a normal way of doing things, which is just to post a video and hope that people like it and then go, well, nobody bought anything. This is a different business model completely. So think of yourself as a broadcasting house. Number 4, say hi to the competition. All the people that I know in the same business are not competition. If you believe the world is you versus you, then certainly you stop thinking about people as being against you. You see them as growing the industry, as representatives. And they've got their own audience, they've got their own stuff, and as long as they're not copying you or saying bad things about you, there's room for everybody. There's money for everybody in the world. When people say there's a lockdown and a recession, I get it why people say that, but there's still the same amount of money. It's just not moving around. People still have it, so you've got to revisit your offer, revisit what you're sharing with the world, and tweak it so those people find it more relevant and want it. That's what you've got to basically do to be able to make it work. So there are enough fans for everybody, there are enough viewers for everybody, there's enough ways to get people to connect with you, and always there's a chance to move forward and grow your audience and grow other people in partnership too. The next stage of this show will be to get more people coming on as guests. And that's going to happen from episode, I've got it all planned anyway, I'll show you in the future. Number 5, consistency is everything. I don't go out every single day, but I do go out most days. And get consistent. People need to see you there, otherwise they get to like your stuff and they find a gap when you don't do it, and then they find somebody else instead of you to do it, and that's not really what you want to happen. You want to make sure that everybody who likes your stuff stays with you for the future. So getting out every day, even if it's just a little bit, is very important. Number 6, let me get it out, get the show out. Okay. Number 6, be transparent, honest, and daring. I do bare my soul to you. I don't tell you everything, but I tell you what's going to make you money. I have fun with all the stuff like Wakanda. I talk about stuff that I find funny and so on, and not everybody's going to like it. Some people will hate it, but you know, this is me. And I'm happy to apologize if I get it wrong, and I'm happy to change it because this is part of my learning curve as much as it is yours. Number 7, find the right platforms. Do you go on Facebook? Do you go on LinkedIn? Do you go on Instagram? Do you go on TikTok? I don't do TikTok. Not at this stage anyway. Maybe I will when I find a right way to market my content, but right now this is working for me on conventional Facebook and YouTube and LinkedIn, especially LinkedIn. You find the right time to go out, sort of midday is mine. I want to create a coffee time when people can just chill out and have their coffee. That's why we had the idea of having that coffee jingle that I shared with you earlier. It's in here somewhere, let me just find it. Okay, the latte one. See this one? See this? Because this show is prepared to be like having a cup of coffee with a friend. It was only meant to be 10 minutes, but then Blabbermouth decided to carry on talking much longer and overstayed his welcome. So find your audience, find your time, find the right way to broadcast, and keep tweaking it until it works. It might not work initially. You might find night time's better when people are at home, but everyone's at home now. I just find this time allows me to get it out of the way and concentrate on work afterwards. And even if it comes out later on in the day, I repeat it several times and start new watch parties so people can see it wherever time of day they are there. Stay humble. Nobody cares who you are. You are a guest in their house. Never forget that. I mean, hopefully I haven't been throwing ego at you ever, and those who know me hopefully say he's a nice guy. That means I get more referrals because I don't go around saying, look at me, because I don't really think anyone cares. And nobody does care about me. They like me, they might watch me, but it's only what I can do for them. And when you're broadcasting and doing something like this, whether you're doing TV or radio, your audience is usually at home or in the car paying attention, and you are invited into their place. They can kick you out. If they find that you're not looking after them or you're abusing their trust or their time, they will get rid of you within one click. So you really have to be gracious and grateful to have their attention and really be pleased and thank them for, like I'm thanking you on a regular basis by doing the show and honoring the stuff you share with me by coming up with new content all the time. Number 9, remember what's in it for them. Always create new exciting content and things that they want to see. Yesterday I was on about mental health. Today I'm teaching you what goes into making a show like this. You might want to make your own, or maybe you're just interested Or you might want to help somebody set up theirs. Get in contact, see if I can help you. I help a lot of people. I'm working with people that straight after this show, I've got clients lined up waiting to work with me. All right, number 10, work towards a conclusion, call to action, or follow up. I talk about my Industry Icon program. That's my coaching program, but also I speak around the world virtually and properly. Not so much properly now, but that's because of the challenge of coronavirus and people not going into auditoriums, but certainly hosting events, training people, coaching, and speaking at events. All this I can do in a new virtual world, and it's very exciting. Number 11, welcome the world by name if you can do. I try and name check as many people as possible, as you've already experienced in this session. Why? Because everyone deserves a chance to be name checked. It doesn't cost anything. And as long as you're not necessarily doing meals for mentions and saying, oh, and by the way, I really like drinking from these guys because this drink it's not bad actually, Lucknow. I really enjoy drinking Lucknow. If you want to send me some more. Lucknow. Well, you see what it's like when somebody does that. Exactly, there you go. So, welcome the world and all the people by name because people appreciate it. If they know that you're going to say hi, then they're going to say thank you for saying that and they're going to come back again. Nobody cares about the show as much as you do. This is true. If I disappeared tomorrow, people might say, oh, do you remember that show? But more than likely, they're just going to not say anything and that's it. I'll disappear off the radar. And that's the way it is. It's sad, but that's in a world full of multimedia and so many shiny objects to look at. You are only there as good as long as people are interested in it. So make it interesting. Tweak and improve every single day. I come up with new stuff every single day to hopefully keep you interested and keep me interested. If I got bored with the show, I'd certainly stop doing it. I wouldn't want to be caught in. I mean, that's one of the reasons I stopped doing radio and I stopped doing TV. I got bored of radio. Got bored of being, bored of being famous, but I did. I got bored of just being. Of reading out adverts and talking about the latest supermarket sales. And it just didn't interest me. After a while, I kind of grew out of it. And people say, well, how could you do that? What a great job. It can become shallow. Trust me, it doesn't take much for you to change what you're doing and do something that really is important. As soon as I worked out what my hedgehog was, what I'm great at doing, what I love doing, and what people pay for, that was the thing. Radio helped to get me there. And certainly radio, this is like a live radio show. It's like a breakfast show or a mid-morning show for you. And for me as well. And so with that, I'm kind of doing the same thing, but doing it on my own terms. And certainly nobody, look at this face. Look at this face. Nobody is going to hire this to be the face of their radio station, or well, face of a radio station maybe. But for their TV station, there's no way that CNN or any of these guys would turn around and say, Dave, can you anchor our show? No. But I don't need to because I'm doing it for me on my own terms. So I could be my own boss and do my own thing. So that's much better. But I did work for the BBC for a number of years just to prove it can be done. So ignore vanity metrics. It doesn't matter what people are getting. It only matters what you're getting. And only loosely look at that because you can get good days and bad days. You can get so much. Get your analytics done, but be kind to yourself. Don't batter yourself and say, oh my goodness, nobody loves you anymore. Next day they might have a less interesting day and they might come back to you, or maybe I had a day off you. So it doesn't matter. Keep being consistent and you'll become a thing on their radar. People right now are stuck at home, so if you're doing really good content online, they love you for it. Number 15, reinvent TV. Get stuck in, start a revolution, do what I'm doing. If you want to know how to do it, I will share it with you next. But meanwhile, just go out there, jump and grow wings on the way down. One day we'll all be gone. Forget coronavirus. One day we all pass on to the next level, if there is a next level. And between now and then, your job, in my opinion, is to get as much out of life as you possibly can. One of the biggest fears I have is going to my deathbed and thinking, wow, I could have done better. With the time I had, I really didn't make enough effort. I could have done better. That's what keeps me up at night. Luckily, I don't, because I work really hard doing the stuff that I love, so I never get bored and I always get excited. And I think that's kind of important, and I think you probably agree as well. So from now on, every single day, push yourself a little bit harder. And so these are the things I wanted to share with you. If you want to take a screenshot of this, then I'll move my head to one side like that. There you go. And you see I've got no love bites on my neck because I'm not 15. Okay. So there we go. And next up, we're going to be sharing with you how you can change what you do to be a lot more effective with audiences all around the world, to get perceived and seen as an industry expert, and have lots of people want to do incredible business with you just by doing what you do. Interested in that? Well, you should be. We'll talk about becoming an industry icon next.